So when I bought my Mr. Cool mini split air conditioner, I guess you'd call this a heat pump, I made many mistakes. So this is going to be a video about the mistakes I made, with the idea that hopefully you won't make them, and how I made them better. First mistake. In the instructions, it gives a picture of possible locations to drill the hole in the wall. And according to this diagram right here, there's a possible location on the left and a possible location on the right. And because I was, well, actually the way the wires that go into the outside box are, I thought the best location would be to go out on the left. Well, that didn't prove to be true. I did drill a hole in the wall. There it is, big and ugly for the whole world to see, with the thought that I could bring in my pipe and bend it and bring it over here and connect it to where the pipe connects, which is over here. I do have pipe benders, and I do have experience with working with copper pipe. I didn't think it would be a problem. It was a problem. It was very difficult to get it up in there. And once I did, when I moved the outside pipe bent in a way that made it unusable. And now I have to reinstall the flange. I have to re-drill the hole. I'm going to have a hole in my house that I won't be using, so I have to stop that back up. See, this is where my hole is. Right here. And this is where my connection is. Right here. So if I'd been able to come out that hole, I could have dropped straight down and connected my pipe there, but nope, couldn't do it. And in bending the pipe, I kinked it right here. Now that pipe is no good. It's ruined. It has to be cut off, and this flange has to be moved over here. Second thing I did wrong was I broke off one of the pins that holds this door, which is on the face of the unit. The pin on this side looks like that. It's an unbroken pin. The pin on this side looks like this because it was broken off. I repaired it with super glue. The super glue didn't hold, so I repaired it again with JB Weld, and now I'm going to need to sand off the excess JB Weld and then attempt to reinstall this pin without breaking it off again. That's the second fix I'm going to have to make. Probably maybe it was the third mistake, I don't know. But anyway, letting this get wet was probably a mistake because there's some kind of electronic stuff here, and it was raining last night, and I moved all this stuff over under this shelter thinking that it would be okay, but it rained very hard, so it got this wet. Much to my dismay. So today I'm going to start all over. The first thing I'm going to do is take the inside unit down. I'm going to sand that thing I showed you. I'm going to attempt to put the face back on it. Second thing I'm going to do is take the board that I mounted it through down and probably throw it away. I'm going to replace it with this piece of Luan. I used heavier half-inch board before, thinking that this needed the heavier board because of the weight of it, but after putting it up there and down a couple times, I think the Luan is strong enough. So before I put that board up, I'm going to let my wife paint it. So while I'm working on the piece that I showed you, the face is the piece that covers over the front of this. While I'm working on that, she'll have some time to paint this, and then I'm going to start all over again. Okay, that didn't work. JB Weld let me down. Okay, so this is going to call for something more extraordinary, and I guess it's going to be my next best thing to use here. Is probably going to have to be some 415 epoxy. And the other day I mixed up some 415 epoxy and it didn't hold. But I blamed myself for that. And I really thought the JB weld was going to work, but it didn't. So my next best option that I can have, that I can think of, is going to be the 415. So I need to scrape off all of this here. The way I broke this was I opened the door. You have to open the door and remove a plate to wire it, and then you have to turn it over. And well, first you have to open the door, remove the plate, figure out where your wiring is going to go. Then you have to come in from the bottom and run the wire up, in, and through from the bottom. So I had the door open. When I turned it over, the door snapped off. And I would happily make a case for them making a door that is not prone to get snapped off, but I don't want to complain too much. I'd rather focus on how to fix it. So far, there's been 2 attempts to fix this that failed. One was with super glue, one was with JB weld. So the next one will be with 415. Probably, I didn't think about it, but probably still had some super glue stuck on this, which might have made it harder for other things to stick to it after that. So giving it a good shake down, maybe even a little sandpaper work on that edge there. Clean off any old glue or anything that might be on that. Same thing with this pin. I don't want to remove anything that's stuck to it. I did have a little thought about possibly drilling a hole in this and putting a pin through it. Maybe I should think about that. Maybe what I'll do is I'll try the 415 first. If that doesn't work, I will do that. Put a pin through that. Needless to say, I'm having a heck of a time with this heat pump. And not nearly as much fun as I thought it was. So after giving this a little more thought, maybe the very best thing to do is to go ahead and put a pin in that. And I got to thinking, even with the 415, it doesn't have much to hold. Especially when you think about if I make this larger than the hole that it's going to go into, that's going to be a problem. So probably will be sanding off a lot of whatever I put on here. So what I think I'll do, there's a little dimple in this already. With a very tiny drill bit. I'm going to try to drill a hole through this thing. There you go, very small one. And I'll do the same thing here. This one also has a little dimple. I'll do the same thing. A little hole right there. Didn't go all the way through, but I might want to. There. Now what that will do, it'll give me a chance to put a very fine piece of wire through this. And I've got some very fine wire, I believe. I'd like to use some wire that won't rust or deteriorate in any way. That will do. This is a kind of me and Waylon Wire always kind of joking about fixing things with baling wire. Well, here we are, doing what we're doing, doing what redneck boys do, right? Right, Waylon? Doing what redneck boys do. If I put that onto that, and I can literally run that out to where it touches my finger, then I'll know it's completely in there. And I'm going to want this to be straight. I can literally cut it off right here. And what I'll do when I mix up my pour 15 is I'll slop a little pour 15 on here. But when I put this in, I'll literally be putting some inside there with it. Alright. The next thing I need to do is mix up my 415. It ain't gonna take much, I can tell you. Just a pinch of one and a pinch of the other. See, that's just literally a pinch right there. Now on this one I'm going to cut it with a different knife because I don't want to mix the gray and the white pour 15 together. Now you mix this stuff up real good, and I made a mistake last time. I mixed up some of this to try to fix the little wheels on my roll around seat, and it didn't work, but when I felt of it, it was soft, and I realized, well, I just didn't mix that up enough. So this time we're going to mix it up more better. At least I hope so, so that it actually does work. So for starters, I'm just going to take the pen itself. I'm going to just put some on the pen. And then I'm going to run the pen through the hole. Oh, I should refocus y'all so you can see down here. Ouch. I seem to be accident prone today. I just hit my funny bone on this sawhorse, and earlier today I cut my eye with one side of it when I tried to get it down from the shell. Be careful, guys. Maybe I should put it in here first. And put that into there. And then smash down up here this leftover bit. It's very fine stuff. Fine as in you know, you can work it into a really small place like this. Just roll it down into a little piece and take that little piece and pinch it, put it where you want it. Like I want it to go up under here. I don't want to get out on this. Before, when I was using the JB Weld, you may have noticed I was trying to sand off some because I'd gotten too much on there. And the other thing about JB Weld, it was wet, so it kind of, I think it kind of changed shape a little. Now I'm going to put a clamp. I've got a clamp. Put on that. And this clamp should hold that in place. And then I'm going to have to walk away and leave it alone and let it dry. Let it sit. So, that's a good tight hold there. So I think I'm going to leave that alone. Or maybe not. Maybe I want to put a little bit more up in here. Just kind of mash it in. All right, and the rest of this goes to waste, but you know, I always do mix up a little too much, I guess. Hard not to. We got that, and we got this. Fold that down, and fold this down. We can put them both back in the box. And I got a particular place I keep this box because I don't like to have to spend a lot of time looking for things. And I'll give you a good example. Right now, I'm looking for, you know, those little clamps with the wheels on them you cut copper pipe with? I got some of them around here somewhere. They should have been in that box because that's where my brake parts are at. But it wasn't. It surprises me. I may look in that box again, but I must have another box around here somewhere full of, probably full of plumbing stuff that might have that in it. So I'm going to have to look for that. So I'm going to leave this alone, let it dry. Probably won't touch it until, well, actually, I probably won't touch it until the day after tomorrow, because tomorrow we got to go down to Athens for a, Honeybabe's having some tests done. So what I can do is take this and set it over there, because she's going to use this table. She's painting a board to go under this for me today, so I'm going to keep this table free for her to use. I'll set this over there. By the way, I'm going to make my apologies to the Mr. Cool company, because I have so far managed to mess up everything I've touched in trying to install your do-it-yourself air conditioner. But it's not your fault. I'm convinced of that, even though this pin would have been nice if it's strong enough not to break. And it would have been nice if the instructions were written in such a way so it didn't look like I had a choice as to which side that pipe should go through. But other than that, things are going well so far. A job that should have taken me maybe a day and a half has so far taken me, well, if you count the weekend, we won't even get into that. So I'm going to change the subject. Subject changed, and I'm going to walk away from this. I'm going to clean this area up so Honeybabe can use it to paint on, and y'all have a nice day. Love y'all. I don't care who you vote for.